I don't see the things in my life that I think I should have. Does that make sense to you? I don't see the things happening that I thought would happen. I never dreamed I would be where I am now. I would never dream I was facing the things that because I never dreamed I would have done the things that I did. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I never dreamed I would not do the things that I haven't done. Wow. But because of God's mercy, we can be what God has called us to be. And that should be the desire of every single one of us. Just to be. Be the Jerry, be the Hayden, be the Patty, be the James, be the Jeremy, be the Jackie and the Larry and the Israel. That God knew I was going to be or should be in the womb. In our life journey throughout, wrong choices, mistakes, sins, whatever it is, God has showed us mercy. He showed us mercy for our errors. He showed us mercy because of our lack of obedience and not doing what He wanted us to do. He showed us mercy. And held out His hand again and said, come on, let's get this right. Let's get this right. That's why He died on the cross, so He could deal with each and every one of us on an individual basis with the Spirit. As much as a blessing as my wife is to me, as much as a blessing is as Larry is to Jackie, as much as a blessing is as Israel is to Suanne to Israel, Harold and Paul, so on and so forth. In other words, the people most important in your life. As much as they're a blessing and a help to you, it's nothing like Jesus can do for you. Despite of who we are, He shows us mercy. Look at David. David was anointed to be king at a young age, and he went through such hard times and remained faithful to God. But yet, we all know the story that's used so many times about his adultery with Bathsheba that led to the murder of her husband. But God had mercy. God had mercy. So much mercy that the child he had with Bathsheba was his heir to the throne. When Peter continually rebuked Jesus Christ and was so up and down, and then he totally denied Him, Jesus had mercy. And Peter still preached the message on the day of Pentecost, the start of the church. God is a God of mercy and of love. And because of His mercy, He realizes who we are and our weaknesses and why we reacted and did the things that we did. Therefore, in our weaknesses, He becomes our strength when we let Him because of His mercy. Mercy is basically not getting what you deserve. My Lord, when you ignore the mercy of God, you're ignoring your opportunity to get your life right the way it should be. That's what you do when you ignore the mercies of God. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, but I want you to just think about something. When you knew God was leading you to do something, or to go somewhere, whatever. God was instructing you, I guess is the best way to put it, about something in your life. And you ignored him. Anybody ever been there? You ignored him. And you thought of all the reasons why you couldn't or shouldn't or wouldn't. But he didn't quit talking to you about it, did he? He didn't quit asking. When I got saved, I was raised in church and then went out of church and was out of church for years. And even though my parents weren't in church, I thank God they raised me like I was. Does that make sense to you? From a very legalistic church. So man, if I told a lie or if I did anything, I got a whipping, you know. In other words, they raised me with the morals of the church. But they couldn't teach me the spirit of the church because they didn't have it. Does that make sense? And I run, and then there come a time, and I don't care if you believe this or not, it's the truth. God was convicting my heart. And I knew that he was about, put it this way, I denied going to the altar and giving my heart to the Lord on a Sunday morning. Make a long story short, that Sunday night, it was snowing outside. And I told the Lord just that morning, I'll do it tonight. Service went tonight. I don't know what the preacher preached because everything in my mind, it was a warfare the whole service, about to go or not to go. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? And I'm sitting there, and the preacher did the altar call, and I'm still just sitting there. So he gets ready to dismiss the service. And I had a heaviness come up on my chest. It was like putting an anvil or something, weight heavy. It was just pressing and pressing. And I knew that my life depended on whether I went to that altar or not. You can believe that or not, but I know it's the truth. And I jumped up, and I went crying to that altar. And all the things that I had done wrong, and there was plenty of them, I repented of it. He forgave me. But the wonderful thing about it is when I got up, I knew he was with me. And I knew that I was with him. It didn't just dry the tears from my eyes. It just didn't make me feel good. Because I was forgiven for something I had done wrong. I realized that there was something that happened within me that was going to change my life forever. And as I walked with the Lord, I realized that there was someone there teaching me how to live for him. But I didn't deserve it. I don't deserve to be here today. I don't deserve to be doing what I'm doing. I don't deserve to even speak the words that I'm speaking if it wasn't for the mercy of God. But when you really give your heart to the Lord and say, Lord, whatever you want from me, I am yours. And when you do that, you move from mercy to grace and from grace to power. And the ability to be the man or woman that God has always wanted you to be. That's the change he will make. We know the story about the Israelites, how they went into the promised land, how they defeated the Canaanites, and the walls of Jericho fell down and all of that, and how all throughout their history they were serving the Lord and they weren't. When they weren't serving the Lord, their enemies defeated them. When they were serving the Lord, they had victory. That's what our life is. When we give it to the Lord, no matter what the enemy is doing, no matter how powerful the enemy is, no matter what the circumstances are, we have victory. And we walk in peace and life because we know that we have that victory. Now we see Jerusalem and Israel that is going through the things they're going through. You talk about prophecy and all of that, but the simple reason they're going through it, I believe with all my heart, is because they haven't accepted Jesus Christ as the Son. They are God's people, but they rejected Jesus Christ. Because of that, their lives are different than it would have been. Our lives can be different if we won't reject Him. Would you stand?